I started to set goals since I was 12 years old. To be honest with you, I was a pretty ambitious kid. I wanted to be the smartest, the strongest, the best looking, etc. The problem I encountered though, that when I set my goals, I wrote them down on the paper or on some kind of app. First week was good, second week was good. I was reading the book every day. I was going to the gym. But then after these 2 weeks, I skipped one day, then second day, then third day, and then I forgot about my goals till the next year. So right now I'm 22, and last year was the best year in terms of setting and achieving the goals, right? And I think I finally found some sort of a structure or the way I should do it and the way that works for me. So in this video, I would love to share this with you, and hopefully it's going to be helpful for some of you guys. So let's dive in. So the first thing I found for myself is the simplicity is the key, right? Before that, I was watching 1,000 and millions of videos using thousands of templates from different people, how to set the goals, how to track them. And it didn't work because it was too much, to keep up with. And I just found out my own way, and I made it as simple as possible so even a child can understand. There are 3 simple steps the way I do it. So the first step is going to be define your goal, right? Before I set any goal, I ask myself a question. What do I want to do and why do I want to do it? It's pretty simple, but it takes some time to answer, right? I want to read books. Why do I want to read books? I want to go to the gym. Why do you want to go to the gym? You want to be rich. Why do you want to be rich? What do you want to spend money on, right? Create a reasoning behind it, take a piece of paper and write it down. For myself, I don't set more than 6 goals a year. It doesn't sound a lot, but at the same time, for me, it's important to achieve it, then forget it. For some of you, 10 goals might be very achievable and you can go for that, but for me, 6 is enough. So the next step is make it realistic. What I mean by that, you gotta ask yourself a question. We're gonna take an example with reading a book, right? I wanna read more. All right, cool. Can I read 100 books a year? Yes, I can. Will I do it? No, I won't. Why not? Because in my list of goals, this goal is gonna be probably top 5th or top 6. It's gonna be somewhere in the bottom or maybe in the middle, because I have other priorities. I have my business, I have my hobbies, family, etc. Right? So I don't want to spend too much time on that. I also know that I'm pretty slow reader. I like to enjoy my book. I like to take notes. I like to come back to something, or sometimes I don't understand something, especially when I'm reading in English, which is not my first language. So for me, the realistic goal is going to be 12 books a year. For some of you guys right now, 12 books a year will sound like almost nothing. I read 12 books in a day, But at the same time, recently I heard a quote that says, we overestimate how much we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate how much we can do in 10 years. I believe in the consistency, and I believe that consistency beats talent. And I would rather set the goals that is very realistic for me, very achievable, and I always know that I can do better, than the goals that I will never achieve. The next step I have here is breaking down the goals on quarter, month, week, and a day. In order to do this, I have to find what is the average length of a book, right? So based on the ChatGPT, average book has 350 pages, which means in a year, I'll have to read 4,200 pages, which sounds extremely a lot, right? But now we're going to break it down for the smaller steps, right? So per quarter, which means 3 months, we'll have to read 1,050 pages. Per month, we'll have to read 350 pages. Per week, we'll have to read 87.5. And per day is going to be 12.5, which sounds pretty doable, right? If I read, let's say, 6 pages in the morning and another, 7.5 pages in the evening, sounds very realistic, right? It's just gonna take me like 20-30 minutes, which is not a lot at all, right? So that's the main point. When you look at the big goal from the perspective of 4,200 pages, sounds a lot, but as soon as you break it down into small parts, small pieces, it doesn't look that hard. In order to succeed, you will have to track your performance. You'll have to know that you read a book every day and you always can come back and see that you've been doing this for 2 months non-stop, and now you want to stop. You won't stop. You will have this thing in your head like, hey, I want to keep going, right? So for me personally, I use Notion. I'm gonna right now probably insert a video when I'm explaining how I use it. That's how it looks like for me, right? There are 2 different pages. The first one is strictly for my goals. The second one is my schedule, right? So if you open it here, you can see that I have goals for each quarter of the year. And if you open a month, you can see that I have a schedule for every day. This is just a template. I write my plans the day before, right? So in the evening, this is just a template for you to see, right? So I wake up at 6. I have my meditation goal. Most of the time I'm gonna spend on the business that day, most probably, right? And you can see that I have my reading goal, journaling, and the sleep goal to sleep, at the same time. In the end of each week, I will be tracking my performance on the weekly goals, and then in the end of the month, you can see that I have written down my monthly goals, right? $30,000 in sales, get a new building, blah blah blah, something I want to do this specific month. But for you guys, you can use a notebook. I have this one here. You can write it down here on the notebook. You can use any other app. You can use Apple Notes. It doesn't really matter. What matters is to track your performance every day. If you have 6 goals, write down what you have to do, a small piece, right? A small milestone every day, and just keep track of it every day in the evening. Remember that a lot can change. Sometimes you'll have to adjust your goals, right? This is the reality. And what important with this is not to adjust your goals because you were lazy and you didn't read a book, or you were just, doing this or that. And I want you to have legitimate reason why you're adjusting your goal, right? For example, you had to move to a different country. I have my business, and I have one of my goals is to achieve a certain amount of sales next year. And what happens if this company shuts down? I can't do sales anymore because I don't have a company. I mean, I can do sales personally, but it's not going to be as much, right? So something you can't really control, then you can adjust your goal. Otherwise, if you're being lazy or you just want to adjust it because you skip a couple of days, it doesn't make a lot of sense. In the conclusion, I want to say that this might not work for you, right? Surprise, surprise, we're all different, right? And somebody likes to write their goals in the fancy tracking sheet or on the piece of paper. Somebody doesn't even write their goals and just keep working and achieve a lot of things. The main thing I want you to take from this video is what's important is to actually doing the thing. If you won't be reading the book every day for the whole year, you won't achieve this goal. It doesn't matter what plans you have. It doesn't matter what you're thinking. What's matter is actually doing the thing. So put away your phone, turn off your laptop, take a book, and start reading.